Okay, thank you, Professor. Maybe another round of applause. Could we have several questions from the floor? Okay, I can open the floor, and if you have any questions, stick to the topic, huh? Okay, maybe on this side, anybody have a question? Let's do an exam tomorrow, so don't worry. Huh? Oh, please introduce yourself. And, okay, this, sorry, excuse me. Yeah, on my left. On my left. Wait.
Hello? Okay, I should say Assalamualaikum, or peace be upon you to everyone. Actually, I came here, I saw your poster on the internet about 2-3 days ago, and the title Rethinking Melaka in the Long 15th Century. Okay, I understand that you are not a historian, so you are an economist, but I thought that your focus might be on historical Melaka, perhaps from an economist point of view. But at the end of the day, I find that it goes towards the definition of Malay, and then later you end with 1946, President in the army, on the call for independence. Actually, what is the main gist of your, yes, are you trying to tell the definition of Malay? Are you trying to tell the process of independence? Or what is it? Because I think I'm not quite clear. I understand bit by bit, but to go from one point to another, what is the message that you're going to tell? Assalamualaikum.
Well, very briefly, you heard what I had to tell. Although you stepped out for a few minutes, I'm not sure what is.
My phone, I left it in my car.
Yeah, but I'm sure. I mean, all of you heard what I had to say. I'm not sure there's much use in me repeating myself. The topic is rethinking Melaka in the long 15th century. It is a period which I think obviously continues to have tremendous relevance for us all, and that's it. That's it. I don't have any pretensions about being a historian, and I'm honored by the invitation to think about this about the significance of Melaka for us, and that's all I try to do.
Thank you, Prof. Can I have the next?
It's not narrative about history.
Can I have the next question, please?
Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon. Jomo, my name is Faisal. Basically, I have maybe an observation. I would like to see your comment. When I was studying my master's in geopolitics in London last year, or in 2017 and 2018, at King's College London, I noticed there were two prevalent discourses. First, it was about the rise of decolonization movement in these elite universities in Oxford, Cambridge, even in London. Second, the pessimism on the declining of international liberal order. All right. These two major discourses have to do with the rise of China as well. And you were saying just now, you are committed to Zopfan, which is good, but there are other scholars who think otherwise. But as I observe in London, think tanks, influential think tanks like Chatham House, RUSI, and many other government-linked think tanks, they were basically amplifying that the reality of what General Abu Lughod is claiming to be, that China is becoming a real subsystem of the world. With the prevalent dominance of Chinese trade in global economy today, do you think that the meaning or the fact of China becoming, as what Professor Danny Kwa said, the shift of center of gravity of our economy to China, and that would render the nature of our regional international relations non-neutral as what you would like to believe in. So basically, in the past, some historians theorize that why Malacca remain peaceful and prosperous, because then the Tang dynasty was the big brother, the protector of the sub-system of the world. So do you think China, under Xi Jinping and this overall initiative, could repeat the same history again? Thank you.
Okay. Very briefly, Wan Faisal, this is not really something which I want to get into today. I have very strong views about what the question you raised, but that's for another time, because I haven't even made my argument about China. But very briefly, I do think that soft fund continues to be relevant. I do not think we should participate in favor of China, nor do I think we should participate in favor of the West. There are differences in the West, of course. There are differences in China. My own view is that we have been taken for a massive ride, and some people in China were complicit in that, but I'm not prepared to condemn all of China for that, just as I'm not prepared to condemn the entire West for the atrocities committed by a few people in the West. So I think we need a much more nuanced view, but I think discussion on China should be on a slightly different occasion. I note with great regret that my old friend Dato' Ridwan Kushairi passed away yesterday. Ridwan was trying to deal with the China question, just as a number of others were trying to deal with it. Many of us were involved in very robust debates. Young Muhammad, Nurul Iza, Anwar, Tun Dr. Mahathir and others, we all have different views about China. I think it is a mistake to deal with China as if it is one monolithic entity, just as I think it is a mistake to deal with the West as if it's a monolithic entity, or even the US as one monolithic entity. But that's a subject for a different time, I think.
Can we have another question? But stick to the, please stick to the topic. Don't give us a lecture. We've got a good lecturer here. Okay, any questions from back up there? Anybody? How about Enrique? Oh yeah, please. Please state your name and your question.
Hi, I'm Shami. I just want to bring back the topic that Prof was mentioning about the parallel between why did China choose to place, Zheng He choose Malacca over Singapore, and what's the reason actually?
I'm sorry, I never interviewed Zheng He. Neither did I interview any of the Ming emperors at the time. I honestly don't know the answer, but I think we can, reading Ma Huan, who's the main source, and Jeff Wade's thing, I don't think a very clear answer emerges. Okay, so I would encourage you to read these things more carefully than I did. I don't have time to read the 11 volumes of appendices, you know. But I think that I do think that, you know, many people would say, oh, Zheng He was Muslim and therefore he favored Iskandar Shah and so on. But I don't really know the answer to that. Why they bypassed Singapore at that time, I don't know the answer, but it's very clear that he was not going to deal with it. If I can make some reference to the earlier question, I mean, you know, you obviously there is a grouping which is clearly against China, okay? You know, led by Abe and Australians for their own purposes, and Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong has made his choice as well. These are the three big promoters of the CPTPP. So these things are all consequential. I have a lot of problems with the CPTPP, but I don't think we should make a decision about the CPTPP on the basis of that kind of alignment. I think that there are other matters to consider, but I just don't know the answer to your question at that time. I think the answer today why China prefers Malaysia is clearly because Singapore is chosen to throw its lot with the Western Japanese alliance, Western Japanese Australian alliance.
One last question on this side. Yes, please. Last one.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Bomaki. I'm an undergraduate studying in Tunku Abdul Rahman University College. So I'm a Malay, and I'm studying in a majority Chinese university. So it puts into a lot of perspective on, at least to me, because I'm living in a vacuum in terms of Malay culture. And because I'm turning 21, I'm also eligible to vote. So it puts also a form of burden because I have to start thinking about racial tensions, racial relationships in ways that actually make an impact. So my question that I've been asking myself, and I've been trying to ask a few friends of mine and teachers, is that what exactly is race, and why is it so important when it's something that we don't really ask in the first place? I mean, we were born into it, and we were stuck into conflicts and tensions that we didn't choose to fight. So why is it so important as a young person to care about these things? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I mean, that's a very, very profound but also very difficult question for me to try to handle. Firstly, I think it is important to separate the thing that race is not a scientific category. Okay, there's no such thing as a Malay race or a Chinese race or this race and that race. Okay, those are all the categories which were created over time usually to serve purposes of dividing and ruling. But they might well predate that. Okay, so if you think, for example, about how people talk about certain nationalities as if there is something common, it often has to do with culture and a shared sense of history, perhaps, in relation to that culture. So race is, in a sense, is a human construction. It's constantly changing. The so-called Malay race, as I tried to show, was a way, for Rizal, it is a way of talking about the people of this region. But if you think about the major categories, let's say Syed Naqib Alatas, he's written a wonderful book on Hamza Fansuri, the Sufi mystic poet, which most of us think of as being from Sumatra. But most of us don't forget that he actually was born and grew up in Ayutthaya, which was at that time part of the Siamese Empire. Okay, so or you take Dato' On, the founder of the United Malays National Organization. His mother is Circassian. Okay, so I think there are no, the question of race as such is really something which is created. One of the debates I used to have with the late Benedict Anderson, he talked about the title of his book on nationalism was Imagine Communities, and I said, I appreciate what his insights on nationalism, but an imagined community need not be the nation. You can have a lot of communities which are created and which are sustained which are not national. It could be anti-national in the sense that being divided. If you think, for example, about what he referred to as long-distance nationalism, a lot of these are anti-national in the sense of the nation as we have inherited it. So if you think, for example, about somebody, many of you may have read his work, Things Fall Apart, okay? Chinua Achebe. Achebe ended his life being Igbo nationalist, and he was not. The big fight he had with Wole Soyinka was over whether or not they accepted the nation, okay, the nation of Nigeria. Of course, many people can argue, what is this nation called Nigeria? It is something which was defined by colonial boundaries. Almost everything is defined by imperial boundaries, even if not colonially, but certainly imperial. So, there's nothing sacrosanct about this. So, yes, Malaysian nationalism, Bangsa Malaysia, according to Mahathir from his 1991 speech, and much of that speech was rendered into Malay by the late Rostam Abdullah Sani. But Rostam Abdullah Sani is the son of Ahmad Bustamam, and Ahmad Bustamam was very influential in the compromise in the Pelembagaan Rakyat of 1947, which conceived of Bangsa Melayu. But the Bangsa Melayu was not defined by some kind of blood test the Bangsa Melayu was a precursor, if you will, of Bangsa Malaysia. Okay, so I think we have to recognize that a lot of these notions are actually notions which we have created and which are very important in our lives, because we often stereotype the other. Oh, itu China, itu Melayu, itu India, and so on and so forth. When in fact there is tremendous variety in all these so-called monolithic conceptions. So I think it is very important for us to begin to recognize that these are fictive notions, but it doesn't mean that they are irrelevant. They are very, very relevant. But let's move away from this notion of race, but begin to recognize that there are cultural differences. We have different views of the world, and our perceived sense of culture and ethnicity may be a very important part of our perceived sense of self-identity and our identification with others. But there are also other very important elements. For many people, for example, their religious affiliation has become far more important than their ethnic identification. And for others, yet others, their identification with a particular generation. I have great difficulties with my younger colleagues, for example, who expect me to return WhatsApp messages instantaneously. I may read WhatsApp messages at the end of the day. But then I also ask my other older friends, hey, can you make sure you reply immediately to my WhatsApp message? Which is asymmetrical, right? You don't do it yourself, but you ask other people to do it. So there are tremendous cultural differences, and most of us are multifaceted. We are at one moment this, at one moment that, and so on and so forth. And our professional identities, our other identities, and our life experiences all bear their marks. And so there are no two people who are identical, who are the same. Every Melayu or every China and so on and so forth, there are differences as much as there are similarities, which may have to do with ethnicity, may have to do with a shared cultural experience, but may well have to do with many other aspects of the human condition.
Thank you. Sorry we cannot ask any questions. I'd like to stay here all night. But as a token of appreciation, we would like to welcome Dr. Noel Rodriguez to present the procedure.
all, thank you for coming to our first of a series of Tawaric Talks. The Tawaric Talks is really a series where we want to engage with the public, to bring forth scholars, to have discussions. And so this is our first. And the next one is next week on global economy. And I'm going to speak on the global economy. And this will be held at Kampung Cheti in Gajaberang in Melaka. So all are welcome to join us. And it will be part as well of an exhibition of a series of other talks. And so please do come and engage again with Melaka, in fact. Aside from that, we have other upcoming talks. The next one, April 6th. Keep your calendars free. If you want, come to Badan Warisan. Dr. Nasha, an archaeologist, is going to speak on Melaka and pre-Melaka ports, chronology and comparisons. So please, all are welcome. Now, we have other speakers as well who have committed to giving talks for this. We have, for example, Professor Anthony Milner, and as well as Dr. Imran bin Tajuddin. Now we have a series of talks and we will keep you informed, and so please continue to engage with us as well with, in our Facebook page, Melaka in fact. Please like our page and get involved with the discussion. Now this will all lead to an international conference which we are planning in August this year. And we have speakers from all over the world coming together to discuss Melaka in the long 15th century. And so scholars like Barbara Andaya, Leonard Andaya, Anthony Milner, and we have as well people speaking on, of course, the Chinese sources, Jeff Wade. We have people speaking on sources from Iran, from Saudi Arabia, and as well as others, scholars like Azyumardi Azra. We have scholars like Imran bin Tajuddin. And so it's a collection, it's an invitation for scholars who have done work on Melaka in the long 15th century to come together and to have a discussion. And so hopefully whatever we get from this conference, we bring forth to the public, and we hope there can be more discussion with regards to the richness of the history and culture of Melaka. And so please, if you have the time, stay on. We're going to run a few of the posts that we have on Facebook, and we've had a number of people engage with us already through Facebook. So, ladies and gentlemen, see you all in Melaka. Thank you again for coming.